Okay, today I am trying out the DK43 dethatcher kit for my Earthquake MC43 mini tiller. I have lived in this house for about 9 years and I've never really dethatched my lawn, and up in my front lawn it's pretty kind of patchy and there's moss and it's just kind of not great. And then my backyard is a little bit better. I've kind of overseeded it in the past few years, but it still could use a little bit of help, so I thought I would try dethatching it. I've had the Earthquake tiller for a number of years, probably 3 or 4 or 5, I can't remember exactly, but in that time it's been a pretty good workhorse. About the only thing that I've really had to do to it is replace the fuel lines and the fuel filter inside. I'll probably have to do the air filter and the spark plug this year or next year, because it's still kind of it's not running at its peak, but it's working pretty well. It's been a great compact cheap tiller, but I wanted to try the dethatching kit, so I got it on Amazon as a warehouse deal. It was under 50 bucks. And I've seen dethatching videos for other similar tillers like the Mantis, and I thought, oh, this will be easy. I can just kind of pop it on and off and go from there. So far I've probably spent about an hour and a half all total trying to get this kit on there. It's after dark now, so I can't even really test it, but just to kind of show you, so you get 2 sides of these little wire tines. There's 3 sets of tines on each side, and then each side has its own separate wheel to it. And then you get this little metal skirt to protect you from all the thatch flying up in your face. Now, I've seen, I think it was a Mantis one, where it looked like you just kind of popped these 2 sides on, and then the shield was in 2 halves, and then you kind of just pushed it onto the main shield that is always on your tiller. This is a turn this around. This is a full size, full width shield, and it comes with some parts. So it comes with a little wheel offset bracket here. So it's really not kind of a pop on pop off thing. It's really, once you do it, you're kind of committed. So I would recommend you maybe, you know, getting together with people in your neighborhood and having people pay you to dethatch a bunch of lawns, so you can kind of get some use out of it before you have to take it all off and put the regular blades back on it, because it is kind of a pain in the ass. I think what I'm gonna do ultimately is just leave the wheel extender and the extended skirt or shield, whatever, on it all the time, and just pop these off, because a little bit of extra width on the side for the shield really doesn't bother me too much, and as long as I can still put my regular tiller blades on it, then I'm fine with that, because it is kind of a pain in the ass to get on. You have to remove the whole wheel assembly, and as I've had mine for a little while, the screws have been kind of rusted, and it took a little bit of work and a little bit of silicone spray to get them undone. But I got them off, and then you gotta shove this whole shield on, and then you have to undo the screws that hold the main shield together and screw the big one onto the little one. So that's kind of a pain in the butt. You gotta line that up. And then the biggest thing is this pin that normally holds a spike, which I've never really used, so I'm fine leaving that off. You have to line this up, and this holds the back of the shield on. Of course, my pin with the little ball bearing was of course rusted, so I had to spray that and kind of get that working again. And then I really had to kind of flex this thing, and it's a good solid metal shield, but I had to flex it pretty good to get the pin lined up, and then I had to then have a hammer, so I had to whack it with the back of my campfire axe. But anyway, so I got that all on, and so you add this shield, or this extender thing on, and then you bolt your wheel assembly back on it, and then you put the wheels in the lowest setting, which I normally don't do. I don't actually move the wheels up and down that much, but now I'm going to have to, and you can kind of see my bottom is kind of rusted there, so I had to spray it with silicone spray and then kind of whack that with the camp axe too to get that all the way down. So now you have back wheels and front wheels, and it pretty much just drives flat. So now I have this all set up, ready to go. And as soon as the sun comes up again, I'll actually come back with my actual review and see how it actually works as a dethatcher. But in terms of assembly of this whole accessory unit, they really couldn't have made this any easier. Well, they really should have made it easier. Like, they went unnecessarily out of their way to make this kind of difficult, but like I said, I think I'm just gonna, now that I have this big shield and this all on there, I think I'm gonna leave all that in place and then just pop the tines on both sides. So then, actually, I can show you too if I flip this around again. And these tines are sharp; they're digging up my deck here. There is a little, you can't really see it too well, but there is like a little or a big kind of cotter pin. So there's two sets of holes on the drive shafts. So you're gonna kind of push it into the inner of the two, and it's a little bit. You can kind of get your hand in there to wedge it up there, but it is a little bit of a chore. I had to whack it with a camp axe, so have a good camp axe or at least a hammer or something around while you're doing this. As far as tools to get it all undone and redone, I have my socket set, and then I have another adjustable pliers for holding the screw as I screwed it back on. I had a nail nose pliers at first, didn't really end up using that, but yeah, you'll want like a good hammer or something to kind of give it a little bit of force. But anyway, so here it is, and in the morning we'll try it out and see how it actually works as a dethatcher. Alright, good morning. I now have given the Earthquake dethatcher kit a good try, and I'm actually pretty impressed now. I'm kind of having to do this in fits and starts because it looks like I'm going to have to replace my fuel lines again. But I've done a bit of my yard, and look at all this dead thatch and grass. You can kind of see in my lawn kind of where I've been and where I still have to go yet, but like I have, a pretty thick layer of thatch in my lawn, and now this is nice and opened up. I'll overseed that. So I've raked up a little bit of it, but you can kind of see, look at what I've done so far and what I haven't. Now, bear in mind with this, you have kind of a space in between where the drive shaft is. So you kind of have to overlap your passes, because otherwise you get like these little lines down the center. But overall, I'm actually very impressed with this. I can't wait to see how this, opens up my lawn. And like I said, I'll overseed it a little bit and keep going with it. But yeah, it's kind of a pain in the ass to put on, but it works very well. It even is pulling up a lot of moss and all that stuff that was kind of growing basically right on top of the thatch layer. So yeah, I'm very impressed. So if you have an Earthquake MC43 tiller, the dethatcher kit works pretty well.